This isn't just another podcast. We're crushing the taboos and we're rewriting the rules. It's the space where we normalize women becoming wealthy. If you're done playing small and ready to become the CEO of your life and the architect of your future, then my girl, you're in the right room. Welcome to your wealthy era. Welcome to the Wellthy CEO Podcast.
Today, I'm joined by Dani Kagan, serial entrepreneur, mom of two, and the powerhouse behind Mave Chez, the world's first luxury ergonomic slipper brand. From landing a Dragon's Den deal to raising $1 million in venture capital, Dani has scaled multiple businesses while raising her family. We're diving into the real strategies behind her success, from funding and pitching to balance and burnout, so you walk away with tangible tools to apply in your own life and business. Today, joining me in studio on the Wellthy CEO Podcast is a badass who's so humble. She's super humble, but she is a badass. My girl, Dani Kagan. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. That's such a nice intro. I'm blushing.
Well, I can't wait for everybody to hear your bio, which will be, well, they already actually heard it coming into this episode.
Great. They know everything.
Yeah, they know everything. But it is so good to have you here today, and I'm really excited to unpack your journey. Some of it I've been a part of.
You have.
You know, in the building of businesses and sitting on, once upon a time, on an advisory board for one of your companies. And so seeing like you growing multi-six-figure businesses and now a 7-figure e-commerce business, moving from events to e-commerce, which we'll get into. Let's start with, though, like a bit of the entrepreneurial bug, because you're still young.
Oh, gosh, thank you.
Well, you haven't even hit 40, right?
Correct.
Right. So, like that, you're younger than me, and you've done so much in such a short period of time. And ever since I've known you, you've had this entrepreneurial passion. And you've been very driven, and that doesn't just happen. So take us back a little bit before we dive into what you've created.
Well, it's so funny you say that, because the word entrepreneur wasn't a thing when I was younger. Mm-hmm. When people asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I didn't say entrepreneur. That wasn't even a word I knew.
Right.
And, you know, I knew that, you know, my dad in his 50s left his job and eventually became an entrepreneur, but I didn't realize that was like something in and of itself, like not just like owning a business, but it was like entrepreneurial. Like this whole concept didn't really exist in the way that it does today, which has been completely over glamorized in my opinion, but I can get to that later. Yeah. I think my story really begins when I was a teenager and I worked many jobs and predominantly was teaching dance. And I grew up dancing competitively, which is like a big part of my story as well. And I did a lot of different things, and I was really curious, and I loved like, you know, creating like these cool community shows and putting on shows and events for people. And I did that in high school, and I remember putting on this really cool dance fashion show in high school, and I was like, this is really something I'm good at. And so when I went to university, I was at U of T, where I actually met my co-founder, Victoria, who you know. We've been business partners now 15 plus years.
So crazy.
So long.
Yeah.
We're in a marriage.
Yes.
It's amazing. A beautiful one.
Yeah.
And we met at U of T, and I was like, I really want to like revamp this like dance fashion show I did in high school. And I think there's like, this has some legs, and like, let's build this into like a community event. And that was the beginning of my very first business, City Moguls. That was like how it started, which ended up growing into this really huge fashion show for charity, where we put entrepreneurs like you on the runway and really just like made this cool event that really brought the community together for to drive impact. And I was just like a curious person. I didn't actually think that this could become a huge business. I was just following a passion and thinking that dance was so amazing and it could bring so many people together in the arts community. And so I was just like, this is something that I think is really cool. And then I eventually was like, oh, I think I could turn this into a business. And once people started coming to our events, they were like, oh, can you actually do the logistics for my event? Can you guys put together our event? And so that's when we created a second arm of our business, which was another events company. And, we grew both of those businesses simultaneously for 10 years. But I would like to say, I never just went off on my own. Like, I worked for other people while doing this as a side hustle for 4 or 5 years. Right. And I think it was really a big part of who I am today, working for other people, seeing how other businesses are run, bigger, smaller, startups. And then at a certain point, I was like, okay, I can go off on my own now and take a risk. I'm young enough. Like, let's go.
I love that. And I was going to ask you as you're talking, saying you didn't go to school for this, like being in dance, not to say that you couldn't take business or marketing or things alongside of that, but like you didn't go to school inherently for that. And so to be able to even have the mindset, like, I can monetize this, I could turn this into a business. And so I actually didn't know that on the side you were working for other people. And so that really was like your education from like learning from them on the house too. And I'm sure you got a lot of the, okay, we don't need to, trial and error this. We can learn from other mistakes or like what not to do.
For sure. I remember I was working for the co-founders of Roots for one of my jobs, which was like amazing learning. And I feel like, I studied poli-sci at school, and I feel like this was my MBA, like working for other people. Right. And so I remember going into the office early because I was like, I have to work on City Moguls for an hour before I get my day started. Wow. And like, I just was able to do that at the time. Yeah. And on my lunch break, I was like calling random people that I had no business calling at the time, being like, hi, I'm putting together this really cool event. You have no idea what it is. I'm just doing it for the first time, but would you like to walk in a fashion show for charity? Yeah. And like, I was just picking up the phone and calling people like on off hours of my job.
I love that. And that's kind of what it is, It's like you don't know what you're doing per se. You try and you figure something out. If it doesn't work, you pivot, but it's like there is no quote unquote rule book on like entrepreneurship, as much as there are so many books on how to build a business and like tips for success. Until you're actually in it, you're like, nobody can prepare you for really all the stuff that happens.
Nobody can prepare you for entrepreneurship. You have to get in the mud. Yeah. You have to get in the mud because you can plan and plan and plan and listen to all the books and do all the talking to people, but eventually you have to make a decision to just do it and sit in it. And that is genuinely the best way to learn.
So you took a risk on yourself where you felt that you were finally ready to like, I don't need these other side hustles or these other jobs, and I want to go in. I want to go all in. When you look back, is there anything that you would have done differently?
It's so funny because I'm just thinking about a moment when I was working at an experiential marketing company. Yeah. And I was so ready to leave. I was like, can I swear on this podcast?
Sure.
I fucking hate working for other people. And I worked for people who weren't great mentors. So I think that was like part of like the push to get into entrepreneurship. Because I was like, I got to learn how to be a better mentor and leader. Because like this leadership is like.
No bueno.
No bueno.
Yeah.
And so I remember leaving because Vic and I were like, we're going to start a dance competition. And we did this like photo shoot and we started calling competitions and studios and we started doing all the legwork. And I was like, I think this is going to work and I'm going to leave my job. And like 4 months later, that entire business just crumbled. Wow. And I was like, okay, this is like a good learning lesson. Like, what did I learn here? And I think the biggest learning lesson from that moment was that I was doing too many things. Right. I was still running my 2 other events businesses. And then I was like, I can just like make this another arm of this business because it's events, it's related, but it's not ever just like, if you're going to do another business, it's got to be all in. Right. You got to be 100% all in, and you can't be losing focus between multiple things. So I think that was like a big wake-up call for me, that I cannot do a lot of things at once.
It takes away your attention. right? Like you can't, as much as women, like we're like the queens of multitasking and we do it very well.
Yes.
But I think when you're in business, it's very different than in life, multitasking and in business, especially if you're building something, right? It's like your attention, the most attention you can give to something, the better, right? Versus splitting your time, splitting your energy, splitting your capacity is really what you're doing.
Yeah, like I think as a mom, I can like hold the baby, watch my toddler as she's like, mommy, watch me jump on my face.
Yeah.
And like feed myself and like maybe like be breastfeeding at the same, like that's amazing. Like I can do that.
Yeah.
That I can do.
Yeah.
But in business, I find that when you are looking in too many directions and your focus is scattered, you can't really put 100% of your energy into the things that you're building.
Right.
And at a certain point, you have to decide, am I going to just put all my eggs into this basket and actually try it? And rather do that and fail than just keep coasting with multiple things at once.
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of on that thought, you made a really big shift from events to e-commerce. What was the reason that you made that pivot?
A few things, but the catalyst was for sure COVID. I mean, all of our events just halted.
Yeah.
Had an amazing mentor who was like, I don't think your events are coming back anytime soon. Don't be naive.
Right.
And sit on your ass and do nothing.
Right.
And think of something else to do. And I really always did want to build a product. I loved fashion. I loved, the idea of someone wearing something that like I designed or built. And I loved the idea of making money overnight. Like e-commerce was so cool. Like you just hear like a ding at like 11 o'clock at night because like someone bought something. I just thought that was super cool that you could build things and make money by like not being the actual service person yourself.
Right.
And I also love the idea of building like a women's brand. I feel like I just like love women and like I'm so raw, like feminine energy.
Yep.
And I was like, I think we can like build something around all of these things. And then I got pregnant and I was like, I'm having really bad foot pain and lower back pain. And I have a podiatrist friend and she came over actually really on in my pregnancy. And she's like, I'm going to make you an orthotic. And I said, great. What am I going to put this in?
Right.
And she was like, you can put them in your running shoes. You can put them in, that's it. I was like, okay, I don't want to wear running shoes in my house all the time.
Right.
It's a global pandemic. I'm home so often. I'm pregnant. I don't want to wear running shoes all over my house. And she's like, well, I definitely recommend you wear something supportive at home because walking around your home in bare feet or socks or flat shapeless slippers is really bad for your foot health and your back. And I thought, as an ex-dancer, I was like, oh gosh, I'm not used to not being barefoot, but like this is actually taking a toll on my body. Like I could really feel the hardwood like making an impact on my body. And so I was like, why don't you make me the orthotic and then I'll make like a slipper.
Yeah.
And that way I can wear the orthotics in something that's like cute and chic and cozy and versatile. Yeah. And she was like, that's really cool. And that was literally how Mave Chez started.
I love that. And now you've taken that and it's this multi-million-dollar empire that's happening right now that you're building. You've been able to raise over $1 million of venture capital, which as a female founder has challenges, which I do want to dive into that with you. Before kind of doing that, because you decided to bring this out, birth this during COVID, which, as an optimist, and whenever you see a downturn in a market, it always breeds opportunity. Most people maybe would not necessarily think to launch a product, even though shoes are a necessity, but your product is a luxury item, and luxury is not a necessity for the vast majority of the world. It can be a standard that you don't want to like lower or compromise. But your average person is going to say that's a luxury item that I don't need. So I would love to know like your mindset around the vision that you had to have, almost like what's the word? You'll laugh. I had Tanya on with her co-founder Zoe.
Yeah.
And she was like, were absolutely delusional. And it was the delusion that like, you don't realize how delusional it is until like you look back and you're like, that was crazy.
Yes.
Like, is any of that in there? Or
oh yeah, Tanya and Zoe and I talk about this all the time. Like,
okay.
You have to be a little delusional about your vision.
Yeah.
Especially at the beginning. Because you have to bring people on board who are, you have no product.
Yep.
You have really no business plan. And you just maybe have like a drawing on a napkin, which is what I had.
Yeah.
So you really have to be a little nutty and a little delusional in the best possible way to really get people like into your vision and into the brand and what you're building, right?
Yeah.
And I think we were a little bit of that, which helps a lot.
Yeah.
And I think we were also really ruthless about speaking to a lot of people. And I called so many people those early days, and I asked women about their foot issues, their back issues. I spoke to osteopaths. I spoke to chiropodists, different types of podiatrists. You know, I had a call with like so early on, I had a call with a random guy who made like actors and dress shoes for theater, just to like understand more about shoemaking, a YouTube shoemaking. Like there was so much that went into that at the beginning. And yes, I think that is like, you're a little delusional at that point because you're like, I'm building something from absolutely nothing, but I have like this grand vision. And the more people I spoke to, the more I was like, oh, I'm onto something.
Right.
Like I didn't live in a vacuum where I was just like, I have this really good idea. I have a problem. I'm going to solve it for myself. Right. I was like, I have this problem. Let's see who else has this issue. And I started becoming obsessed with it. And I was like, there are a few non-negotiables for me after I started learning about foot health. This needs to have arch support. There needs to be something washable about this insole. I can't make a slipper with shearling on the insole because it gets so gross and then you have to throw them out. Like these have to last longer. Yeah. I need something with a rubber outsole because it's really good for shock absorption for your knees and your hips. So like this is why I was like, oh, I can't make these cheap. I can't make these like just, you know, regular household item. This is going to be a premium product. It is going to be a bit more of like an affordable luxury price point because I have to make these like ergonomic so that there's actual health benefits for women. Because like the amount of people who have plantar fasciitis, mostly women, is insane.
Sure.
And like the back problems and like the knee and hip issues. And a lot of it is because we walk around our homes barefoot.
Right. It's true. It's funny as you're saying that because all through my pregnancy, my body was great. Like I had no swelling. I barely put on any weight. You know, she was tiny. She came out 5 pounds, 14 ounces. So like there wasn't much that needed to like come on. And I worked out pretty much all the way up to about my 32nd week. And then I had her at 38 weeks. So, you know, pretty much like my full pregnancy, I was still like working out. And now postpartum, like I'm not able to move my body as much. I'm home like way more than I've ever been in my entire life. And I always say to my partner, I'm like, everything always aches. Like my feet are always so freaking sore, even though I do wear something in the house. And of course I have a pair of your Mave Chez. I do have a pair. I don't always wear them though. And as you're saying it, I'm like, maybe I should just, because I have other stuff that I like too, you know, like I have my other like.
And you do have to switch it up, by the way. I think it's important for people to know that you have to switch up your footwear.
Oh, okay.
It's good for your feet to switch it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least I'm switching it up.
Yeah.
But I feel like I need to probably wear my Maves more than the switch up, if that makes sense, you know, because I'm going to try it because literally like my especially my right foot. Oh my God. I can't even tell you how much pain I'm in. So as you're saying that, I'm like, yeah, she's probably actually talking about me. That's probably me.
Well, and this is the thing, like I learned really like through the years that it's a product that you didn't know you needed until you have it. And so like the amount of messages I get now where it's like, oh my God, I didn't realize like how much this would improve my lower back pain. Like, thank you so much. Like, oh my God, I love like how like my feet don't ache as much. Like this is like the actual health benefits that I wanted to create for people. Which ones do you have again? Do you have the Audrey loafer or the Maya Mule?
I have, come on, hello. If I'm not wearing black, my other uniform is leopard print, like my water bottle.
Your black leopard print.
Yeah, my black leopard print, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you have the Mayas and leopard, I feel like. And like they're going to wear them a bit more often and see if it helps with your foot aches.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'll report on Instagram.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
One of the things, Dani, you said that I think is really important, regardless of, if you're thinking about starting a business or wanting to try something, is if you can solve a problem and a pain point for somebody. And we all have our own issues and problems. Like you just said, like I was experiencing this during pregnancy. But one of the things that you said is so wise is like you went out and did the research to see are other people having problems, like, and what is the real issue. And so I think that's a good like takeaway for people, that if you can solve a pain point, if you can solve a problem, you have a business.
I think so too. And I think part of the journey has to be, yes, going out and doing the research and calling the people and being aggressive about it and a little obsessed about it.
Yeah.
And building your business at the same time.
Yeah. Because
what happens is that you can get lost in all of the research and then you have too many options of what you want to do. So if you build at the same time as doing the research, like you build as you grow together,
right.
A lot more good will come out of it. You'll get there faster.
I think that's also really wise, because most people spend all of the time in the collecting phase of like doing the courses and listening to the podcast and all of the, the self-help stuff around being ready. And it's like that principle, you're never going to be ready. It's like you just need to start and then adjust and pivot along the way. And so as you're saying that, that's like what the parallel is for me. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in that,
Yeah. And I do those things too. Like I love the self-help stuff. Like I listen to the podcast, I read the books, like I do all of that stuff and like all the high performance stuff and, habit stacking, like learning about all the stuff and consuming it. And you will get a golden nugget here or there, but staying in that zone and not getting into the actual work, which is the hardest part, is what will hold you back.
Totally. Yeah. Well, you need to take action. Otherwise, you should just get a PhD in the research.
That's
right?
it. That's it.
So I would love to just talk about Dragon's Den, because you were on it. That's a little nerve-wracking. For the record, if you haven't seen it, obviously you can Google it, that Dani and Victoria were on Dragon's Den. But which sharks were you guys in front of?
The dragons at the time were Michelle Romano, Arlene Dickinson, and Vince. Who else was there? Wes Hall, Manjeet was on it. I think, and I was really hoping Robert was going to be on it, and he wasn't there that day for filming. And I was like, damn it. So I think he's like the coolest, and I would have loved to pitch in front of him. But it was an amazing experience overall. We had a bit of a different experience than most people because we were put on a standby list.
Okay.
And so a lot of people, after the audition, they go through the whole process and they get a time slot, so they can actually like prep for their episode beforehand. And ours was a bit of a unique journey where Dragon's Den actually called us and they were like, we heard about Mave Chez. We think you guys would be really great for the show. Please send an audition tape. And me being me, I freaked out and was very nervous because I thought we were too early on.
Right.
And I've watched the show since I was very young. And I thought, oh my God, we're going to get annihilated if we go on too early with, too high of a valuation and not enough sales. And then I thought, Dragon's Den doesn't just call you every day.
Never. Yes. Yeah.
I was like, we have to take this opportunity. Yeah. It's being handed to us.
Yes.
So
and regardless, you're going to learn something out of it.
For sure.
Nobody wants to be annihilated, but like you're going to, it will propel you forward no matter what.
For sure. But it is a really big risk because that media and that episode lives there forever.
Yep, that's true.
You can't go back and change it. Even if you skyrocket your career,
right,
it still lives there. And so it is a big risk. And I thought we got to just take this risk. This won't just happen to us every day.
Yeah.
And so we sent on the audition tape. We got a notice that we would be on like a standby list. So a week goes by, 3 weeks goes by, 6 weeks goes by. We're like, okay, we're like we're prepped enough if they called us, but I don't think they're going to call us. I think the filming's almost done. We launch our online store on a Wednesday, and we got a call on the Friday.
And that was the first one, obviously. That was the first like launch, like public facing launch.
Yeah, the launch that you came to, our launch party.
Yeah.
Yep, that was it, the Wednesday.
Yeah.
We got a call on the Friday. Hi, can you come down to CBC in 2 hours to film?
Just like that.
And I was at my warehouse with like a hat and sweatpants on, like counting inventory. And Victoria lives in Burlington, not so close to Toronto.
Right.
We said, yes, we will be there.
Yeah.
And I put on like it's old stinky like black blazer, like old jeans. Like I had nothing cool to wear. I was so annoyed. I was like, I couldn't like prep my outfit before this.
Right.
Anyway, we go there. We have this really minimal setup. So if anyone watches the episode, it's on season 18. You'll see we have like nothing really displayed. And we got there. They mic'd us up. They like pushed us into the den. And it was so great actually because we didn't really have time to get nervous.
Right.
And we had been pitching already because we were raising some capital. And I was like, this was actually a blessing in disguise. Like we looked really normal and, not like overstyled, which I think worked to our advantage.
Sure.
And honestly, like we didn't have time to get really nervous. Like I wasn't as, I think if I had known, oh my God, my episode's coming in like 2 weeks, I wouldn't have been able to sleep for weeks.
Yeah.
And then we pitched and you're in there for like an hour.
Yeah.
They show about 5 to 7 minutes in your final with all the editing.
Yeah.
And got an amazing deal with Vince and Michelle. And Michelle's been amazing. Like she's been such a champion of the brand. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So good. And just for context, like, because I know you said you felt maybe it's too early. Like, what does that mean? Like, where were you guys, besides just saying that you launched the store, the online store, but what does that look like behind the scenes?
So we had launched through a Kickstarter campaign, and I highly recommend always launching through some sort of pre-orders or crowdfunding or something, because what it does is it allows you to build your community before you actually go to market.
Right.
And so that's exactly what we did. We were building up our email list, we were building up the community, and then we launched on Kickstarter, rallied our whole community to, get slippers, and totally exceeded what we thought we were going to do. Like in the first 12 hours, we hit our fundraising goal. I think we put like 15K or something there, and we completely exceeded it. And so we did about 50K on Kickstarter, and that was really like the beginning of our journey. So when we got to Dragon's Den, we had that to show for us, and then some other sales that like came through our amazing launch event. But that was really all we had to show for.
Right.
Like we didn't have these fancy like marketing campaigns yet. We didn't have a business plan. We were just really, really early on. And that's what I mean. Like you just go in and hope for the best.
So I would think no, but I might be really wrong. This is why I want to ask. Had you done a first round of seed funding at that point? We
had raised, this is like, I have to really think about timelines here. We had raised some, like a friends, family, angels round. We were in the midst of that.
Okay.
We were like in the middle of that raise.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that raise hoping to achieve?
We were going to raise $1 million from family, friends on like pre-seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had a bit of that to be able to speak.
Yes. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, we already. I think I remember in the den. They didn't air this, but I think we said something like, "Oh, we have to like talk to our investors about this."
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About the deal.
Yeah. Which is cool.
Which is super cool.
Yeah.
And they both were like, "Yeah." I mean, before we even went on, when we told them, our two like bigger investors were like, "Yes, go ahead."
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so do you feel that you took the risk? Obviously, there was an opportunity. You took the risk to go on. You secured 2 dragons. Do you feel that if you didn't have the deal, it would have been much more difficult for you afterwards to raise the rest of the venture capital that you were seeking to do?
I don't think about that often. I think maybe it would have impacted it. I really do think it, because we got the deal and we could say that we had the deal and we were on the show, that it did give us the momentum that we needed.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really
probably like credibility of confidence to other investors.
I think that's really what it was. It was the credibility.
Yeah, which is amazing. You know?
Yeah,
like
that's what we wanted. Like at the end of the day, this is all publicity. It's PR. It's it's amazing for your brand.
So one of the things I speak to a lot of women about, and I know we talked about Tanya and Zoe earlier, but there are other female founders that came on, and Zoe was in the venture capital space for so long too, and just how hard it is for women to secure capital. Did you have any of those kind of experiences for Mave Chez, or
still do?
Yeah, still do.
I think it's a combination of the fact that we're also CPG, which is like, I think it's harder to find people who like this space and invest in this space willingly. Right. We've just encountered a lot of people who are like, I only do SaaS, I only do tech. So I think it's like hard to gauge, is this like a CPG problem? Is this a women thing? Is it both? Is it, there's like a lot of different factors, but I definitely think that we're on a different journey, especially as women building families. And I think you have to find investors that understand this journey, because we're going to build slower, we're going to build differently, we're going to be more impact driven. Yeah. There's a lot of like pros to it, but a lot of investors are looking for speed,
of course,
and scale, really fast. So I think what we learned really early on, having a male investor who had kids, having a female investor who had kids, who were both not even in the CPG space, just loved what we were building and believed in our vision and believed in us as founders, was the key.
Right.
And we do get some backlash sometimes. Someone will say, come on, guys, you're moving slow. And I'm like, we're moving slow? I'm hustling over here. Yeah. Got the baby on the boob, at a market, selling slippers.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Yeah, literally.
And you know what? That's just like the stuff that you have to brush off and be like, this is how I'm building this. And I bring people into this family now very strategically. And you have to be on the journey with us, because we're not going to build like some 20-year-old who has nothing to lose and can jump on a plane and in a second, in a heartbeat. It's different, and I think, but it's also like a beautiful journey, and it's like a beautiful journey to be on. So we're definitely really strategic. Did I even answer what did you even ask me?
No, you are. No, okay. You're so cute.
I'm on a tangent right now.
No, it's good. It's good.
But this is like the tangent is like, you really need to be careful who you're bringing into your world, because it's hard to get rid of people, and you have to be really clear with your vision. Yeah. And that's what I think we did really well from day one, is we were really clear with who we were as people and what we were trying to build, and that we were scrappy and, all the amazing things that you want in a founder, and also like have kids and want to raise like good humans and not be away from them 24/7.
It's funny, as you're like, am I going off on a tangent? I'm like, no, it's all good stuff. And one of the questions I was going to ask you is like, what is the advice that you could help women prepare for having not just these type of conversations with investors, but you answered it in a way where it's like, it's actually before you even have those conversations, talking about, we're going to build slower, we're going to create more impact. Family is just as important as building this business. And it does look different, because the speed, ROI, exit is not the only thing that's important for a lot of, women who are moms, and so in that, I was going to ask you that, but you kind of answered it. So I'm like, I don't know, like keep going.
Well, I think there's another part of that too, in the sense of like when you're talking about speed and exit and all this stuff, it's like, what do you want as a founder? Like, what is your end goal? Because if your goal is to exit, or if your goal is to sell, or if your goal is to build a legacy brand that you want to be a part of and pass this down to your kids and have your kids come work for you, like just know what you're building.
Right.
Understand what you're building so you understand if there's what your finish line looks like, even though I shouldn't even say that because I don't believe in finish lines. I feel like this is just a continuous journey. Yeah. But what does it look like for you in terms of where you want to go? Mm-hmm. And being really clear about that and going inward and being like, what do I want?
Yeah.
Because not everyone wants to build these huge, massive businesses. There are a lot of really amazing, like $25 million businesses.
Right.
There are some amazing, like other shoe brands that we look at that are like $50 million businesses that are incredible.
Right.
And again, like for some people, that's a huge business. But I'm comparing that to like, the $1 billion business.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Or like Nike or whatever.
Sure.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big runway.
Like, there's lots of different types of businesses you can build.
Yeah. And I think too, giving yourself permission that your vision can also change down the road as well.
Yes.
Right? Like, especially when I think of you and like your journey, like I said at the beginning of our conversation today, I met you when you were in your 20s, I guess, right?
Yeah, my early 20s.
Yeah, early 20s, like building, city moguls, and like you went from events to e-commerce, and just even that, it's like the evolution is always taking place, and then it's following your intuition of being like, events, COVID happened. I'm sure there's some burnout there as well. Like events are like, I mean, I know with Freedom, like I would look at what you guys were doing in a year and I'm like, I do like one massive event in the year. I'm like, I needed a vacation for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I am wiped, from doing our events. And you guys were putting them on all the time.
But I feel like I was also so burnt out. Like COVID for me was actually a big blessing because I was I was super run down from all the event stuff.
Yeah.
So not to say that I'm not run down now, being a mom and running a business, but it's a different type.
It's different, yeah.
And I'm much more I'm much more conscientious of like how to spend my time now, and when burnout like is coming, like when I feel it coming, like I have my tools that I take out of my toolbox and use so that I don't get to that crazy place of being like, I need the vacation for 4 weeks.
Totally. Yeah, you want to build a life you don't need a vacation from. Like, that's the idea, right?
Just like have vacation. I mean, vacation now is like, with kids is like not vacation. Yeah. So it's like, how do you find like hours in your day, to have like mental breaks? But
mental breaks, But, I also think it's like, and I'm still so new at this. Like I'm 9 months and I hear a lot of women and there's zero judgment to it. Like, every child is different. Every journey is different. Every mom is different. For me, and I don't know if it's because I'm 40 versus having kids in my 20s or in my 30s, which would be a very different experience. I think when you have the perspective that like life is beautiful in the as is, like this is like where you're supposed to be right now. And this is one of the hardest lessons I learn and relearn on a daily basis. I talked about it on Instagram today coming here. Okay?
Love that.
I wake up at 6:30 in the morning, or whenever Koa wakes up. She wakes me up. So whenever it is. But right now, she's hanging out around 6:30 is usually her wake up. And it's like 10 to 2, and I'm like, oh my God, like what have I done today? And being in business, we have all of these expectations that are real, right? Like things like have to get done. And my only job right now really is her, and she's my priority. And so it's like, however the morning flows, like I got to do a workout today because she napped this morning. Like I don't sleep train. So, and some moms have major opinions on that, which I'm not asking for it and I don't care. I'll just say that.
I also didn't, but like I know so many people that had to because they just like
Yeah.
their kids were different than mine.
Yeah. And that's a bigger conversation for a different day that I have my own theories on that we could talk about, you know. But some days, like this week, she hasn't really napped. She'll like more sleep like in the car, or she naps on me. And the moment I've got 6.5 minutes before she wakes up, like after I've transferred her to like the bed or whatever, you know. And so I was like, I don't get to do my workout, you know, in the mornings, or I don't get to do anything else. And so like, and I'm saying all of this to say like vacation, yes, it is so different. You know, I've taken her to Mexico. We went there for 2 weeks. I was in Colorado with her. We just came back from Costa Rica for 2 weeks. And it is different, but when you realize that it's not meant to be the same, and I think that's the hardest part, is like you've had the freedom, and even adding one more, right? It's like, oh my God, you adjust to like having one child, and now it's two, and life is crazier and is busier and is needier, like all of the things.
All of the things.
You know? And like, that's how it's supposed to be, you know?
You're in a season.
Yes.
We're in a season of small children.
Yeah.
And it is so precious and beautiful.
Yeah.
And it is not forever.
No.
And I think that's part of the adjustment of becoming a parent too, when you're not, like, we don't get these, like, we don't get prepped at all to become a parent. No. You have to prep yourself.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is like doing a lot of internal work.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, I really didn't realize how much I needed to do that like prep work on like, okay, my life is going to change. It's going to be really hard, but this is like a season.
Yeah.
And it's going to be also amazing. And like the chaos is beautiful, and like the messy house is like beautiful.
Yeah.
And I do listen to like other people. I have a lot of people in my life who have older kids who I'm friends with. I love like having friends of all different ages. Like I have a friend that's 23. I have a best friend that's like 40. I have amazing other women in my life who are around me. And I feel like for like the women who have older kids, they come over and like see Eden or see Aria, and they're just like, oh my God, like hold these babies so close. And they put it into perspective for me. I like have a quick check where I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you for putting this into perspective for me, because today I just forgot how amazing this chaos is.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's going to be gone so soon. And I even spoke about that on Instagram. I'm like, you know, these moments are going to be over in a blink of an eye. And so it's like, that's all I want to do. So it's like anything else can wait, you know?
And me and my husband say this all the time. We're like, when we look at each other and we're exhausted, or like one of us had to fall asleep with Aria. Aria's 4, and like sometimes like she wants someone to like lie with her while she falls asleep.
Yeah.
And, you know, like one of us will come out of the room looking like exhausted.
Yeah.
And we just like, one of us, the other one will say, remember, these are the good old days.
Totally. It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
If this episode is lighting you up, could you please take 30 seconds to hit the subscribe button and drop a quick review from wherever you're tuning in from? It's how we break the algorithm and reach more women who need to step into their wealthy era. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement, and your support pushes it further.
So let's dive into motherhood like for a little bit as we kind of like wrap, because I think, you know, you not just like birthed a business, you birthed a human, like because of you being pregnant. Like if you weren't pregnant, who knows if during COVID, even though we were home, who knows if you would have had the same pain, you know, on your body. And so you being pregnant, deciding like, I'm going to talk about life change and everything you just said. And then also doing a pivot from business, yes, but like going from events to e-commerce, service more based to product based, and then being pregnant, becoming a mom, life changing. Like that's wild. It's a lot.
I feel like I don't know anything else now. I'm like, oh, I'm just building a business while I'm birthing humans. Like that's just what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's also really amazing because there's no good time to start a business. Mm-hmm. And so had I waited and been like, oh, I'll wait till she's a little bit older and it's easier. Like it doesn't get easier. It only gets harder.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the saying, little children, little problems, big children,
bigger problems. Yeah.
So I was like, we're doing this now or never.
Right.
And I'd rather try this and do it and it be crazy and be chaotic and, you know, be tough. Like, it's not easy by any means. But I'd rather try it and do it than like put it off. And I feel like there's so much beauty in like having these tiny humans while you're building a business. Like,
and watching you, they're watching everything that you're doing, you know? So
totally.
Like, it's a beautiful example for children to witness as well. And that you get to be there. Like, as an entrepreneur, like, yes, you're still like out everywhere and like flying off to New York to go do another thing. But like, you know, you're able to be more present than if you were working for corporate or if you were working for somebody else where you're like gone out of the house.
Yeah. And listen, I don't get like the traditional mat leave and it's, you know, it's very different. And there are times and moments in my life where I look at people and they're like with their kids and like doing cute things on like a Wednesday. And I'm like not with the baby right now. Like, she's 6 months, almost 7 months. And I'm just like, oh, that's like crushing for me. And then I think I really, really quickly get back into check thinking that's not what I want for my life. Yeah. Like, I really love building. I love being creative. I love like, I know this sounds crazy, but like putting out these fires every day. Like it's insane what I do in a day.
Right.
Like, people have no concept of what entrepreneurs do in their day sometimes because it's actually insane. And like, we're figuring out, I'm doing things like from customer service to like 3PL management to like someone on my team is sick and someone has to step in. And like, you're thinking about the admin and the invoicing. And then you're like, we got to raise more capital right now. We need to find a loan. We need to change banks. I need to like figure out why the insoles are like rubbing on someone. I need to go to the manufacturer right now and figure that out.
Should we try in Brazil?
Which is in Brazil. Yeah. All ethically made.
Yeah, not around the corner.
Yeah. Luckily we're on like similar time zone.
12-hour flight. Like, you know. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was like 15 hours and 3 legs to get there. Yeah. It was insane. But it's like all of these different things and like it sounds kind of crazy and it's like, who would want to do that? It's like, I actually love doing that. Mm-hmm. And I love that journey. And I do think like that's the trade-off that I've created for myself. Like, no, I don't get to go to like the farmer's market, like, you know, randomly on a Thursday if I'm in Vancouver or New York or whatever with my kids. But like, I do that whenever I want.
Right.
Like, if, you know, I need to like take the afternoon off and be with the baby, I'm with the baby.
Block it. Yeah.
You block it off.
Yeah.
And like, that's the trade-off that I have decided that I want for my life. And yes, it comes with so many things. Yeah. We don't get the mat leave. We don't get the fancy like biweekly payments. Like, I haven't properly paid myself in a very long time. Yeah. But like, I'm in for like the long haul. Like, I'm in for like the big vision. Yeah. And I think like life this way, taking risks is way more fun.
So to a mom listening, or somebody that has a family, you know, you don't have to be a mom. You can also be a dad too, listening to this. What structures would you recommend that you would advise to a mom, to a partner, to the family unit in place that gives mom permission to build and create, but also still find balance to be a mom and to be present? Because that juggle can be very challenging. And so I'd love to hear from you, like what structure or what supports have been like non-negotiables for you in order to stay focused on the vision.
If you want to run a business and you want to have kids, you need to build your village. And the village for me is an incredibly supportive partner who's not an entrepreneur. I highly recommend that.
Yeah.
There's like some steadiness in my life because I know that he's not like taking all these crazy risks as well.
Sure.
So I think that's been really helpful for me and my sanity. And he is super hands-on. Like, there's no world in which this is traditional old school values. Like, we are a team. We are 50-50. Some days I'll be 80%. Some days you'll be 80%.
Right.
Like, I just went away for 5 days to Vancouver, and again, just being a mom, I did a lot more of the planning of who's taking the kids when and who's doing pickups and lunches and all this stuff. But he was there every night and woke up with a baby and gave her a bottle if she needed it. And so I think like the supportive partner for me is like key. I have a nanny now. Like it is game changing.
No kidding.
I was like, I cannot believe I did this solo the first time.
Yeah.
And maybe I had more time because I was like still in the research and development phase of Mave Chez. Like we had started the business, but it's not the beast that it is today. So I think maybe I lucked out in that way and I had the time, but to build slower. But oh my God, the nanny right now is game changing. I love her. I love having someone that's not just obviously doing childcare, but like the house is cleaner. Like I don't need to think about my laundry. And like these are things that as an entrepreneur, you really have to outsource.
You do. Yeah.
It's the only way.
Yeah.
And so having her has been amazing. And then like calling in all the grandparents when you need all this extra help. Like kids are really a lot of work. And they, again, as they keep getting older, they need more. Like my 4-year-old really needs a lot. Like she's off school for an entire week for some Jewish holidays. And I'm like, oh my God, she needs stimulation. She needs to go out. She needs to do things. Like you need to call in like the friends and the family and the uncles and people and the aunts to like really help get them out of the house and do things with them. So I think it's just really about like the village that I've built and also like surrendering when I don't have anyone to help me. It's like, I have Victoria. I have an amazing co-founder. I have an amazing team. Yeah. Like it's small, but it's mighty. And it's like, guys, I'm offline today. Yeah. The kids are sick or we're going out or I don't have help. And
that's how it goes.
That's how the day goes. Yeah. And I'm not curing cancer. This is what I tell myself. Like, yes, my slippers are changing lives. Of course they are. Yeah. We're building a beautiful global empire. That is the goal. But at the end of the day, I'm like, no cancer will be cured today with what I'm doing. It's okay if I'm offline.
Yeah. And I always say, like, your problems will still be there for you when you wake up. You know, like, meaning go to bed, like, give yourself rest, because tomorrow, like, that problem will still be there, you know, and the world will still be fine.
Or you have someone on your team that fixes it for you,
of course,
even before you get there, because you've built systems and people who will do things for you. And like, believe you have to trust them.
Yeah. And that's a huge thing, you know, being able to, know that you've hired people that you can trust, which comes with time. But that
comes with a lot of time.
Yeah. You know, but that is how you scale and build, because you at some point need to let go and know that like it'll be handled. And only if you're needed, you're going to hear about it.
Yeah. And this is the thing, like when you're like at a certain level, and actually this is at any level, you have to be working on like the really big things. You have to be working on the big fish. Yeah. And so sometimes you do get bogged down in like those little things, like the admin things I was talking about and these little fires that you have to put out. And yes, like again, you have to do all of these things and wear all these hats as an entrepreneur, but at a certain point, you have to dedicate your time, which is very limited as a mother. Yeah. And as a busy mother, you have to dedicate this small amount of time that you have to like the big fish. Yeah. And it's like, if you don't focus on that, you're just going to be doing admin work all day.
Yeah. Which isn't your zone of genius. Like that's not where you're supposed to be anyways.
Yes.
And it's that saying of working on your business, not in your business, right?
That's
like
it.
When you're at that point, like that's what you need to be doing.
Yeah. The book that like changed everything for me was 10X is better than 2X.
Totally. And it's easier.
Yeah. Actually. I mean, I find it really hard sometimes because like you kind of get like roped into doing some of those 2X things sometimes, and they're like easier to do sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I find that I have to constantly remind myself, like, is this 2X work or is this 10X work? Yeah. And it's just like that perspective and that reminder to yourself. Are you working at this like small level or like, are you playing big right now?
Yeah. But I mean, that's great that you consciously are asking yourself that.
Yeah, but I get sucked in like everyone else to like the little like shitty work and like the janitor work. I said today on a call, like, I am the CEO and I'm the janitor. Right. And like, you have to be both.
Sure. Yeah.
There's no question about it.
Yeah.
but can you be the CEO more than you are the janitor?
Yeah.
And never be afraid to be the janitor. And there should never, ever be anything that is like beneath you as a founder.
100%. Well, and also too, like you have to know every inch of your business. And so that's the only way that you're going to be able to do it. And as a leader, you are the greatest server. Like that's how I believe anyways. You know, like you're there to serve, and that's becomes the greatest leader. And you can't do that if you're not willing to pick up the mop and be the janitor.
Yes.
You literally can't.
You have to be willing to pick up the mop and be the janitor.
Yeah.
And as long as you're willing to do that, then you can continue doing all that 10x work. But you just have to be willing to do that, because the day will come when they're like, pick up the mop, pick up the bucket. There's shit on the floor everywhere. And if you're like, I'm the CEO, like I'm the founder, like I don't do this, you will never succeed.
You won't. I mean, there are those that do, you know, there are those. But loyalty and retention is not something that you'll ever have. It's always a revolving door, because people can only work for somebody like that so long. And the vision you hold, it might be good. Like they might see it, but it becomes it's not theirs, and they don't want to invest into that because of what you just said. It's like if you think you're too good, you're like above that, you're above them. You don't ever create loyalty and retention. Like people don't want to work for somebody like that.
Yeah,
you know?
and speaking of leadership, what you were saying earlier, like that is like leadership. Like
it is.
Like when my team sees me packing up boxes and like, you know, doing quality checks and like going to the warehouse and doing these things, like they see how invested I am also in the business.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is not just, oh, I want to, of course, there's a huge part of me that's like, I want this to make a lot of money. I want myself to make a lot of money.
Yeah, of course.
Like this is a huge part of it. And also like, I love this craft and like, this is important work.
Yeah. It's also a good thing to be doing that regardless. Like I did say, I really believe as a CEO, you're like the chief server. Like that's your role, like first, because without your people, you have no business. Like you have a great idea and you can execute a little, but you're never going to be able to grow and scale. You need people. So yes, you've got to be a CEO to be able to drive the business and do all the business stuff. But without a team, without people, you're a one-man show, a two-man show. And so for me, it's like you're the chief server first and then everything else. And when people see that you're doing that, and also too, how do you know how to change and evolve and pivot if you're not going and cleaning the corners once in a while? Because if you're not paying attention, that's like where things even start to like crumble, or things happen in business where people are like, I had no idea that this was happening in that department. It's like, well, yeah, because you never come there. You're never there. And you have an operator or you have a manager of that department, but still, like, you don't know the faces. You don't know what's on the floor. And so there's also that side outside of just being in service to and not being better than. It's like, know your business, right?
Totally.
So I feel like we could go Joe Rogan. I feel like we could keep talking.
I know. I feel like we're like scratching the surface.
I know.
And I'm like, you know, it's good. This is deep. This is really good stuff.
I'm like, okay, somebody should bring us in some coffees.
Yeah, and then we like continue for the next hour.
I know.
No, this is great. And thank you for this conversation. I feel like it's so important to talk about like leadership too. And I don't know, I struggle sometimes because I think so many people like see the fancy like founder who's like made it all the way, and like, you know, like so we'll go full circle here.
Tell
so
me.
At the beginning of this podcast episode, I said something along the lines of entrepreneurship is overly glamorized.
Yeah.
And why I say that is because you do see a lot of the founders on Instagram, on social, in the news that have quote unquote made it.
Yeah.
And we're hearing their stories and it's so inspirational, but like we're not seeing a lot of like in the mud.
Right.
And I think what founders are doing now, which is great, is like they are showing you their journey now more than ever,
right,
and showing you like how they're building as they're building,
right,
which is like unbelievably great for a lot of people, because we're like, as consumers, getting like a taste of what people are actually going through as entrepreneurs. But you really, like, for the most part, you just see this like fancy idea of like what it means to be an entrepreneur. And I think that like what we forget is like, if you want to take this road and this journey, like also you're going to be a leader. You're going to be a role model to people.
Right.
You might be a mentor to someone. So like, who are you at that point when you get there? If you get there, you know, on your journey, who are you as like a leader? Like, you're not just now someone who's built a big business. You are stepping into a role of leadership.
Yep.
On a much bigger scale. So it's like the work you do as you grow on yourself is hugely important.
I love that. Such a powerful way to end, because doing the work is everything. And it's continuous. Like, it never ends. Even if you make it, when you make it, I should say, to being that CEO, that in that leadership role that you're wanting, it's going to be a whole new evolvement that's going to call you to level up. And you're going to have to do the work. Like, we're forever doing the work.
Yeah, you don't just like get to a point where you're like, I've made the millions of dollars and now I can like work out and eat healthy and like have really good relationships and see my friends. Like, if you don't see your friends now, you're not going to have any friends at the top.
Exactly. Yeah. No, 100%. And well, it's going to get smaller. But
it gets a lot smaller, which is fine.
Smaller,
but like deeper and like deep relationships. And I'm really, really about deep relationships. Like, if there's one thing to like leave this on, it's like the relationships I'm building while I'm building this business are so beautiful and they are so deep. And like, if that's not what this is about, I don't know what it's about.
I love it. Dani, you're the best.
Shae, you're the best.
Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
How badly did you want to try a pair of these incredible Mave Chez slippers, as Dani was talking about the science and the intentional design that's gone behind each of these slippers? Well, you're in luck. After the show, she said, let's give everybody 20% who wants to get a pair. So head over to mavenchez.com and use the code Wellthy CEO to claim your 20% off of your first purchase. WELLTHYCEO. And of course, if something in this conversation today landed, gave you an aha moment or a shift you needed, I would love to hear from you. Tag me on Instagram and let me know what resonated, what landed for you. Of course, share this conversation as well with a woman who needs to hear this. The more we lift each other up, the more wealth we can all build together. If something in today's episode resonated with you or sparked a shift, tag me on IG or send me a DM. I genuinely love hearing what lands for you. And if it spoke to you, share it or leave a quick review. It helps more women find this show and step into their own wealthy era. Until next time, lead with purpose, live with intention, and stay wealthy.